Good afternoon, peeps. Welcome back to my channel. It's your great Uncle Brian here, trying to instill more truths and wisdom into you. Kind of apologize for not putting more videos up. I did smoke a brisket a few weeks back when the GF was here, and when I went to create the video, I noticed a couple of the other videos that were recorded there as part of that brisket smoking video had somehow got recorded different. So I did not end up finishing that video, so I won't have a smoked brisket video for you. But today I've got an interesting topic. It's a very sad topic, really. It has to do with suicide. And here about a month ago, I was at work, and one of the people that at work had mentioned, "Hey, did you hear so and so had committed suicide?" I'm like, "Oh, really?" I said, "That's too bad." I said, "What? Why? Why did he commit suicide?" And I'm not going to mention names. I'm going to protect the names of the deceased and the family. But I asked, why would this person commit suicide? I've worked around this guy a handful of times. Seems to be a nice guy, hardworking guy, goes to work, does his job, goes home. Um, didn't know much about the guy other than just at work, because kind of more of an acquaintance than anything, but good guy nonetheless. And I was told by two or three different people, so I can kind of go along with. And then I also pulled up the guy's obituary, read the obituary, and the stories are kind of correlating with what I've read on the obituary. But this guy had been married twice, divorced his first wife, remarried another woman, divorced from her, I don't know if it was a divorce or a separation, but then they got back together. And then the second wife decides to divorce him here just recently, which spurred him to uh, commit suicide. Guys, that's a permanent solution to a short-term temporary problem. It's something that we should address as men moving forward. And I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. I found an article, I did a Google search on percentage or number of men committing suicide due to divorce, and I've got an article here. I'm going to see here. I want to share my screen. Share screen here. All right. Share. Okay, here we go. I'm going to see if I can move myself kind of down here a little bit. All right. This comes from a men's divorce page. I think it's a law firm website. And it's titled "Suicide Rates High in Divorce Men." Like I said, I glanced through the article, kind of took some highlights out of it. But to kind of start off here, it says suicide rates are an all-time high. The age-adjusted suicide rate in the United States rose 24% from 10.5 to 13.0 per 100,000 population from 1999 through 2014, according to the Center for Disease Control and Prevention. For men facing a divorce who have gone through the process, ending one's life might be seen as a way to remove oneself from the emotional and financial turmoil of divorce. That is entirely true. I would like to say that when a guy goes through divorce, I mean, I've been through divorce. I will honestly say my divorce wasn't horrible. It still wasn't a pleasant experience, but it was not, I didn't get raked over the coals, thank God. But a lot of guys I know have been through the ringer of the divorce machine, and it's not pretty, the stories that I hear. And one of the biggest things that men go through, myself included, is the financial loss of going through divorce. The fact that I don't know if it's so much the fact that a guy, when he loses his wife, I think it's more the fact that the financial loss of it is far greater than the actual loss of the wife. I mean, I don't know. Like I said, I feel lucky in that area. I don't have to pay alimony. I do pay child support, but it's not very much, and I still live very comfortably. I still can do the things that I like to do and want to do at any time. So I will never say I'm a victim there. But a lot of guys are victims. And I think when you look at the reasons for it, I think a lot of it has to do with the financial loss. And it's also a combination of losing that wife too, because you got to remember, guys, women reserve the right at any time to end the marriage or relationship. And a lot of times she's planning this move months, if not maybe a year or two in advance before it happens. Women are creatures of habit, and when you look at what all goes on behind the scenes with a woman, you have to understand her female nature. Women are hypergamous. They're always out there seeking the next best option. Okay, let me unshare this for a second. Stop share. Okay, you have to understand female nature. Women are always, uh, women to men, women look at men as success objects. Okay. If, and I don't know what happened with my coworker. He was actively working at a job, making good money. So I don't know what her reasoning was to end the marriage. But a lot of times women are out there, their hypergamous radar is going all the time. I mean, it's like a air traffic control radar. You got that little green line that goes around. It's always scanning for aircraft in the area, and it's warning the air traffic controller that, hey, you might need to reroute an aircraft because we're trying to prevent an air to a mid-air collision. And that's kind of what hypergamy is. Hypergamy is always searching for the next best option. So their little radar is going around and round and round. Okay. And what that usually entails is, women now have more access to guys than they have 50, 60 years ago. As more women are going to college, more women are entering into the workforce. So women are actually working for men. A lot of their coworkers are men. And so you see a lot more male and female interaction outside of the marital home than we have in decades before. So, a woman a married woman goes to work every day, her Monday to Friday, 9 to 5. She occasionally talks to Steve in sales or Jaden in accounting or whoever, and then she develops a relationship with one or both of those guys, and then she goes home and it goes on and on from there to where she draws a physical attraction to Steve in accounting. Well, Steve in accounting is a lot more exciting than her husband, and so she starts entertaining advances from Steve, and then in turn she reciprocates, and then one thing leads to another, to another, to another, to another, and the next thing you know, the 6 months later, she decides to end the marriage with her husband because she's not happy no more. And so I think a lot of that too plays an effect in what's going on here with why men are often themselves. So it's sad, but I'm going to continue with the article. I'm going to bring that article back up here, share my screen again, and pick up where I left off here. Share that. Okay. The University of California, Riverside conducted a study examining marital status and suicide within a previously completed national longitudinal mortality study and found that divorced men and women are at a higher risk of suicide than married men and women. Divorced, separated persons were over twice as likely in comparison to married persons. More specifically, the risk of suicide among divorced men was over twice as likely as that of married men, whereas in women, there was no statistical difference in married and divorced women. All right. Coming back here, let's talk about that for a second. Guys, the reality is, stop this sharing here. Stop. Oh, stop share. Here we go. The reality is, guys, women tend to move on a lot faster after a breakup or divorce than men do. Like I said, women will monkey branch from guy to guy, and they'll recover a lot quickly. And when you think about it, when men get married, they assume all the risks associated with that marriage and things I just talked about, cheating, uh, keeping that woman happy. When she becomes unhappy, she doesn't want to be in that relationship no more. A lot of things, men take on a lot of risk. And when you think about it, it's not just financial, but it's when you devote your time to a marriage or relationship, your Coach Greg Adams always uses an acronym called MEAT, and it's abbreviation for money, energy, attention, and time. So a guy invests not just finances, but his energy, attention, and time to that relationship. And for some women, over time, they just don't care about that anymore. If they find a better option, again, men are success objects to women. So if she finds a higher value, better option than you, she will probably more likely execute on that. And so she'll come back, lay the big D on you, the divorce, run you through the ringer, take you for half your shit, cash and prizes, and bounce on to the next guy. That's just how it works, more than likely. So yeah, I can agree with that. There was no statistical difference between married and divorced women because women are not as negatively impacted by divorce as men are. And let's go back to the article here. Scroll down here. We'll cover some more. There are several possible reasons as to why divorced male suicide rates are so high. Sociology professor at the University of California and their research suggests that much of it stems from the separation between father and child. In cases involving custody dispute, the courts are often ready to grant custody to the mother due to an assumption that the bond between mother and child is stronger than that of a father and child. In the minds of those fathers, they have not only lost their marriage, but also their children and any assets or property that was divided during the proceedings. There you go. That's one of the big casualties of divorce for men is you lose your children. And in most states, the default child custody plan is mother is a custodial parent and the father gets every other weekend. So roughly 4 days a month out of a 31 day month, that father has access to his children. And so I'm going through that now. I have that every other weekend parenting plan, but my kid doesn't come down here but once in a while, and he hasn't stayed a night here in a very long time. And, he's 16 years old, and he's of the age to make that decision. So, in a way, divorce has affected my relationship with at least my younger kid. So, yeah, guys are this. Divorce is a huge setback for men. It literally the way I describe it financially, by the time you pay the lawyers and once the settlements come down and all of a sudden you start making the monthly payments, not only are you supporting a woman, still keeping her on the payroll, even though you have no relationship with her whatsoever, that's also devastating to guys. It's like you're paying somebody, you're keeping somebody on the payroll that really has no business being on the payroll. So guys are frustrated with that. It's a situation that you cannot very few men win in divorce. I mean, it happens, but very few actually win. Where most men, myself included, have lost. And so for a lot of guys, I describe it as you could be a 45-year-old man and all of a sudden you're being reset back to a 21-year-old guy by the time your bank accounts are wiped clean and divorced, by the time your assets are divided up, you've lost most of your assets, most of you're kicked out of the family home. And what are you left with? The money in your pocket, clothes on your back, and hopefully you got enough money to scrape up to put a deposit in the first month's rent on a place. So, I mean, guys, this is a real setback for men. I mean, a lot of people don't understand that till you've actually gone through it, but it's a huge setback for men. And so that's why we're seeing these numbers increase. As the marriage rates plummet, divorce rates are sky high. That's going to increase the suicide rate amongst men. Like I said, the numbers, the data here doesn't lie. If like they say, um, there is no statistical difference in married and divorced women, meaning the women are not killing themselves over guys. They're not killing themselves over guys because they could go from one guy, swing to the next, swing to the next, swing to the next. They call that monkey branch, and they go from one guy to the next, and they leave a trail of destruction after every guy, just down the line. And of course, back to the article. Hmm, says between the feelings directed towards the ex-spouse and the ones directed at the courts that granted her custody, bitterness, anxiety, depression, reduced self-esteem, and a general sense that life is not worth living can manifest, creating a dangerous and fatal situation. That paragraph right there, guys, you cannot let um, the emotions of your soon-to-be ex-wife, the courts, or whatever drag you down. The second your wife decides she's not happy, she wants a divorce, and stuff that you as a man should be doing long before is you should be working on yourself. You should be hitting the gym. You should be working out. You should be educating yourself. You should take in interesting hobbies. You should do the things you enjoy. Men, just because you're married doesn't mean you have to go to work, get off at 5:30, go home and sit on the couch. Hell no. You need to get off work, pissed off to the gym, go home, make dinner, eat dinner, take your wife out on a date ever so often. Don't get complacent. Don't get lazy. Guys, that's the problem with men. They get lazy. They get complacent. They get comfortable. Ask me how I know. I was one of those guys. I was very comfortable in my marriage. I'd come home from work. I would mow the grass or whatever I do around the house, and I would sit on my ass and watch TV. I wasn't going to the gym. I wasn't getting in shape. Fuck no. Why would I do that? I was work. Now, before I even got divorced, about 3, 4 years before I got divorced, I got my butt back in the gym. I went back to school, finished my education. I worked out 3 to 5 days a week, which I still do now. I took an interest in more of the hobbies I had kind of vacated after I got married. I took an interest in myself more so than I did the wife. And I didn't date the wife. I didn't include the wife in a lot of those things, but I took an interest in myself and I started building myself because I knew, I just had a feeling at some point that my marriage was going to end. I just didn't know. It wasn't a matter of if, but when. And the when was the unknown. And so, guys, you have to get yourselves up. You have to start doing stuff for the best interest of yourself. Get a hobby, go fishing, start riding a motorcycle, start reading books, start educating yourself, start becoming a well-rounded man. And this paragraph here won't even affect you at all. And what else here? I think this rest of this article goes on about seeking help, about getting counseling and all that, which is true, guys. You should really seek professional counseling if it's getting to the point where you feel as though life is not worth living. Is that it would be the time to maybe start looking to getting into a counselor, start seeking professional help, start getting your mental health back in line. Start looking at, because suicide does not have to be an option. It does not have to be in your toolbox of tools to get your life back in order. You need to take that shit out of there, throw it away, and look at other options in the toolbox. Like I said, for me, it meant going to the gym. It meant going out. I got a nice boat. I go out to the lake. I go fishing. I got a motorcycle. Wind therapy is an amazing form of therapy. I can get on that hog and I can ride 50, 100 miles, do a 100-mile loop, come back and feel great. I never once thought my life was over when I got divorced. I never looked at it like that. I went to work, did my job, came home, went fishing. I went riding. I take a couple day trips. I travel. Guys, life is not over because she wants to end the marriage. And you can't depend on her as your source of happiness either. So when she yanks that happiness rug out from underneath you, you need to start thinking about ways to get that happiness back. You cannot depend on her for happiness. Guys, women do not care about your struggles. Okay, they do not care. They stand at the finish line and they want to fuck the winners when they come across the line. So you need to think about that stuff. So I'll end that article there. And just back to this guy that was a coworker of mine. He leaves behind a daughter that will no longer have her father around him, no longer have her dad there to kind of help her, mentor her, guide her as and I can only assume that his daughter is probably maybe about my oldest son's age, 19, probably 20. I mean, this guy was 2 years older than me, but he left behind a daughter that's no longer, like I said, no longer has her dad. And it's sad. It's very sad. Guys are resorting to this the way out. And I guess the best thing I could tell guys moving forward is, like I said, I have nothing against marriage. I really don't. I think marriage is a good um, institution between men and women, but you have to vet your woman. You have to vet her for red flags. You have to vet her for green flags. You have to date her, have to get to know her. You cannot get in a hurry to get married. And for me, when I look at where I'm at in my life, for me, marriage is not an option. It's not an option. I've already, I've been there, done that. I've got two great sons from it. Um, for me, if I was to get married, it'd be to have more kids, and I do not care to have more kids. I don't want more kids. I don't need more kids. I've got, like I said, two great sons of my own that I love to death. Would do anything for them. But when you're talking to younger men, you got to really reiterate to them: don't get in a hurry. Don't jump in there without proper vetting. And guys, and let me cover some of the things here that you should look for when uh, before your wife drops the big D on you. And a lot of guys are oblivious to these things. Start paying attention to her behavior. You cannot take what a woman says, but actually pay attention to her behaviors. Pay attention to what she does more so than what she says. So, like, is your wife or girlfriend losing weight? Is she up and going to the gym just out of the blue? Like, oh, I'm going to go to the gym and, I'm about 20, 25 pounds overweight. I should go to the gym. Is she going to the gym? Is she going to girls' nights out more often than she usually was? Like, when I was married, my wife would go out on girls' nights out once a month, but it wasn't going to the bars or clubs. It was usually going to some other girl's house, sipping wine and watching a Lifetime chick flick, or they used to play a game called Bunko where the girls would get together at each other's house and they'd play Bunko and they'd rotate. One night a month it'd be at our place, and then the next month it'd be over at so and so's place, and the next month after that so and so's place, and then back. That's okay, guys. That's just a group of women hanging out, doing their own thing, doing what they enjoy, getting out of the house. I support that 110%. What I don't support is when the girls are dressing up, low cut tops, short skirts, or tight fitting jeans, or those TikTok leggings, and they're going out to the bars and clubs, shaking their ass, seeking attention from other guys, or just getting attention from other guys and enjoying that. Okay. Or they're more involved on the different social media platforms to where they're getting more male attention. They're actually taking an interest in maybe a guy at work. Steve from sales might be texting her, "Hey, you want to go have a drink after work?" She's coming home later from work than she usually does. These are behaviors you need to start questioning as a man. Hey, honey, where you been? Normally you come home at 6 o'clock. Now you're not coming home till about 7:30. I've got dinner already cooked. It's put away. I'm just kind of wondering what's going on. Don't be afraid to question her behavior and hold her accountable. Say, hey, what's going on here? I noticed you're going to the gym. Why didn't you say something? I would member up with you. We can go work out together, or we can go out for drinks more. I mean, but if she's not taking an interest in, she's doing these things not for you. She's doing them for somebody else. Because as much as women want to deny, when they're going to the gym to lose weight, they're not going to the gym for you. Because deep down, they understand that they are a beauty object to men. And if they don't lose the weight, they're not as attractive as it could be to the next guy. So they go to the gym, lose the weight, start getting smaller clothing, more tighter fitting, more lower cut shirts. And then they start going, like I said, going to girls' nights out, girls' trips, things that most guys are oblivious of, or they don't even question because, well, I don't want to fight with my wife. I don't want to make her mad at me. Well, she's just disrespecting the relationship. She's disrespecting. And guys, you should have healthy boundaries in your relationship and marriage. If she's crossing the boundary, call her out on it. But take note, pay attention to what she's doing. And like I said, save yourself before the marriage. That's one thing George Bruno always reiterates on. He says, save the man, not the marriage. If you save the man, the marriage might have a chance. And I believe that wholeheartedly. Guys, if you work on yourselves, you become the best version of yourself, you might save your marriage. But if you save yourself and build yourself up, you are readying yourself and preparing yourself for a possible new relationship with somebody else. Okay. But like I said, I just wanted to touch on that topic of men committing suicide because men are killing themselves over women. They really are. Um, and it just goes to show that women don't really care about men. And this article kind of says that because women are not killing themselves in divorce. They're actually raking a killing in divorce. They're the ones walking away with cash and prizes. They're the ones that strip a man of his dignity, his well-being, his wealth. And yeah, they have no reason to kill themselves in divorce. None whatsoever. So, like I said, um, my condolences go out to this guy's family. I mean, it's a tragedy. It's a very tragic. It's at the same time I call it's cowardice that a guy would do that. It's like that person is getting the last laugh by committing suicide, which it affects. Like I said, he leaves behind a daughter who will never. Her life is severely altered because of this, because of his choice, and so that will greatly affect her life moving forward. I mean, time will heal the wound, but the scar will always be there. And there's going to be days where she's wishing her dad was still around, wishing that she can call her dad and say, "Hey, I need help with something. Can you help me?" And he's not there. And so that's it's unfortunate, very unfortunate. So I'm going to leave my email address down at the bottom of the screen here throughout the whole length of this podcast. I encourage you guys to reach out to me. I mean, I've got a very, I mean, got 9 followers, but that's 9 I probably didn't have before. But I really want to help you guys out. You can email me with your story. We could get on a Zoom call. I don't charge for this stuff, by the way. I just do it because I want to share my experiences, what I've been through, and I want to be able to help other men. And I want to be able to network with other like-minded men who have gone through these things, either through divorce, relationships. I would even network with guys with same hobbies, interests. But it just breaks my heart when you hear a guy that his only way out was to commit suicide, and that's like I said, that's not a tool that should be in your toolbox. Email me, I'll have it there at the bottom. Send me a story, email, say, hey, ask me. You can do a buddy check. Say, hey, Uncle Brian, can you talk? I'm going through something. I just need someone to listen. I'll listen to you. That's why God gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. We listen more than we should speak. So with that being said, guys, I hope everybody had a great Christmas and a happy New Year. I mean, I know I'm slow on getting the videos done. I've been busy myself. I've had family medical issues happening beginning early in December, so I've been going back and forth with that. So I apologize for not creating much content lately. I'm going to try to get on there and do that more, but when my coworker committed suicide, I figured that was going to be a very hot topic for me to talk about. And so I'm glad I'm bringing it up and sharing that with you guys and letting you guys know that there are other men out there that will listen to you, that will, it's like a buddy check, you know, reach out to me in my email. I'll answer you back as soon as I can. I do have a full-time job, so this isn't my full-time gig. This is like a side thing for me that I'm trying out. Hopefully it can kick off and be something more than what it is now. But tell me your stories. I'll be happy to email back and forth with you. I can do a Zoom. We can do a Zoom meeting. We can hash it out as men. But other than that, that's all I got for you today. Until next time, toodles.